Chris Russo is here. He is known as Mad Dog. He's a broadcaster in the New York area for over, I don't know, maybe 15 years or something. I don't even know.
More like 18.
18 years.
Yeah.
And now he just signed with Sirius Satellite Radio for what they say is $3 million a year. Here's Chris. Hey, Chris. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Honey, hey, Howard, how are you, buddy?
How are you, man? Congratulations.
Thank you, Howard.
That's him.
The man right here.
There's the Mad Dog.
Rabbit, here I am, right there. I got little muscles and everything else.
You
I'm
look
all
good.
set.
We were concerned about you. I saw you for the first time the other day in the hall when you were having your illustrious press conference.
I'm thinking he was wearing makeup.
I said, you're very tan.
I was, well,
I'm worried about you.
I was at the Jersey Shore in that stretch, so I got little kids on the beach all day, Italian, the whole bit.
That was a real tan.
Real tan.
Are you the kind of guy that lays on the beach and says, gee, I'd like to get a tan, or is it you're active on the beach?
No. I get bored, but I tan well, but I can't lay on the beach hour upon hour.
Is it hard for you?
Drives me crazy.
You're a man's man. You like sports.
Love sports.
You love sports. That's your life. But to sit there and take care of these little kids and run around on the beach.
Very difficult. And I am not a good swimmer.
How long can you last watching children?
How about 20 minutes?
Is that right?
No, I'm tough with the kid. And I have 9 and under.
Ooh.
4, 9 and under.
4?
9 and under.
Oh,
9, 7, 6, and 3. 3 little boys.
So it's hard to be interested in what they're up to. It's how long can you really hold a conversation?
Are you getting better as they get older?
Yeah.
You try to get them into the sports. You know, my kid. Let's take a golf lesson. Let's play flag football. Let's watch.
You like.
Right. And they all hate sports, for God's sakes. I got classical musical people. Honey, I can't hate this.
Were you the type of kid that liked playing sports, or you were the
No, I love playing sports. I wasn't great at it, but I love playing sports.
And did you enjoy that with your father? Was he a sports?
You know, my father is not. I'm an only child. So my father is only a Yankee fan. And I hate the Yankees.
Tony Russo, right?
Tony from Santa Fe.
Yeah.
And I hate the Yankees.
Why do you hate the Yankees? You're a New Yorker.
Because I rebelled against him. He was a Joe DiMaggio fan. So growing up in the 70s in New York and Mickey Mantle, all I ever heard of was Joe D and Mickey Mantle. Plus, he never took me to games. Remember, early 70s in New York, the Yankees stunk. They were a terrible baseball. And plus, the old Yankee Stadium, I lived in Syosset, Long Island. He never wanted to commute over the Triborough Bridge, blah, 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 couldn't park. So I never went to Yankee Stadium as a kid.
In a sense,
and that's the reason why I hate the Yankees.
You make sense in a way that New Yorkers know that to get to the stadium,
it's
to
very
pay
difficult.
for the tickets, to do all of that, they almost challenge you to like the Yankees.
Right, and remember, Howard, early 70s, you are talking about not a good ballpark. You're talking about a lousy team,
right?
And the neighborhood was worse than it is today.
What about Mets? You never...
I am not a Met fan. I'm a National League fan. I'm a huge San Francisco Giants baseball fan.
San Francisco became your team.
Why
My team.
San Francisco?
In 1968, my father was a jeweler, or was a jeweler.
Right. And
he always wanted me to get you as a client, by the way.
Yes.
But in 1968...
Look at all my jewelry.
Now would be the time.
That would be the time, is right. But in 1968, in Philadelphia, I was 8 years old. I was born in 59. So I was 8 years old. Giants are playing the Phillies, and I was at a jewelry convention. So I was a little 8-year-old kid running around the lobby getting all the Giant autographs. Willie McCovey, Bill Mumble Kent, Mike McCormick. The only guy who wouldn't sign was Willie Mays.
Wow.
And I got all these autographs as a Giants, and I became a Giant fan in 1968. And I still haven't won a World Series.
And it stuck with you.
And it stuck with me. I traveled with them the whole bit.
And when it comes to football and basketball, are you against New York teams as well? Do you not like the Rangers? Do you not like the Knicks?
You know, everybody used to accuse me that because, you know, I anti-New York.
Right.
Russo doesn't like any of the New York teams.
Right.
So I kind of made that a deal for a long... I don't hate the New York teams as much as people think, but I don't root necessarily for the New York teams. I got wrapped up in the Rangers when they won the Cup in 1994.
But that, in a way, what you do for a living, it's almost like being an eternal child. I mean, isn't it weird that you are a grown man with a family, and this shit still matters to you so much?
It matters.
As opposed to the mature stuff we do here.
No,
Yeah.
but wait a
Opposed
second.
to Dancing with the Stars and The Bachelor.
Well, that's serious business. That's the business of television. Sports, in a way, it's so childlike. To maintain that childlike...
That passion.
You gotta
well, look
have
at you.
passion.
You have the passion for radio. I
Yes.
heard you this morning coming in.
Absolutely.
You're a radio guy. You can
I'm a
have this
radio
beautiful
guy.
studio. You can do all your things that you do.
Right.
But the core of you is the radio.
Right.
The core of me It's sports.
Sports. So, when you were a kid, did you imagine yourself being a sports commentator?
Yeah, Marv Albert was my hero.
Was your hero?
So I thought that I would be a play-by-play guy.
Right.
Where I would announce particular teams' games.
That's really your dream.
That's what I wanted to do. So the first job I ever got, Jacksonville, Florida, in 1983 for the Jacksonville AA baseball Suns.
Right.
And I went down there in February of 83, and I sold advertising time for the Suns. Billboard advertising and the outfield, season tickets, all those things that you could think a minor league ball club would sell, I sold for them.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to Rollins College in Winter Park. I didn't go for this, though.
You were not a communications
History
major.
and communications.
Okay, so you wanted to be a broadcaster.
I wanted to be a
That was your
broadcaster.
But
dream.
you wound up in sales.
So in Jackson, but I wound up with sales in February. They said, if you can sell, we will put you as the play-by-play guy of the team. I get there in February, and in 6 weeks, now this is I'm 22 years old, in Jacksonville, Florida. They hate the Yankees in Jacksonville, Florida.
Right.
That's Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm going out there knocking on doors trying to sell advertising for the AA team. I'm just out of college, 8 months out of college,
right.
And after 6 weeks, they fired me.
Well, let me understand something.
And then I ended up at a radio station.
You
After
get out of college,
right,
and you land a job in sales, in radio sales.
All commission. It took me 8 months to get it, but yes.
Right. Was your father upset with you? Did he want you to be in the jewelry business?
Absolutely. Good question.
Because
Absolutely.
Because a guy growing up in Syosset with a father in the jewelry business, it's almost determined. It's predestined
Absolutely
that you would become a jeweler.
I have good point.
Did you work there all the time?
I did in the summer times.
You did.
But my father and I would always clash, take the training together. We'd always fight. He's
it
a
was
Yankees.
horrible.
I just did not want to
Did
do
your
that.
father think you were a nudnik, that you were a bit of a schmo?
He thought you'd be crazy. You're never going to get a job. How
Did
you
he
gonna...
tell you that?
Yes, he did.
He sat you down and said, "Listen, I'm worried about you. You want a good bit living, be in the jewelry business. This is a schmuck's move to be a broadcaster. You got no talent."
He didn't go that far, but
Right.
he would. My father's the sort of guy, still alive, 77 years of age, that he wants to be the doer. Let me make this call for you. Let me go talk to this guy. And he didn't know anybody in the broadcasting business.
Right.
But some guy who had a cousin who worked at a radio station in Des Moines, Iowa, he tracked down and
But he
made
loved
me the
you.
call.
He loved you.
He's trying to help his son.
Trying to help
his only
his son.
child, only son, boom.
But probably privately he worried because
Very much so.
Because you don't sound like a typical announcer with the deep voice,
Right, exactly.
and you got the accent and all of that.
But
So
I knew I could do it, though. I knew I could do it.
But you believed in yourself.
I did. No, I didn't think I was going to be a talk show host.
Right.
And that's where the baseball came in, because I got the job. I took the job thinking I could be a baseball play-by-play guy.
And what happened there? Did it
They
work
fired
out?
me after 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
$1,800 worth of,
Why? Because you were terrible at it?
They didn't think, I think the season was coming close. They didn't want me on their air, so they got rid of me. But I sold 18. I didn't have a contract.
Were you too controversial?
No, I wasn't even on the radio yet. I
Right.
was just selling advertising.
Oh.
And then I ended up, from there, working for a day, dawn to dusk station.
But wait a second, hold it. If those guys never heard you on the air,
Right.
you hadn't even had a chance to get on the air, why would they fire you? Did you have a grating personality?
No,
Did
they
you not get
fired me
along?
because I think they wanted to use me to see how much I'd sell for them.
Ah.
And once I sold the 18, which I thought was a tremendous... Think about this for a second now. Young kid, Jacksonville, Florida, don't know anybody, and somehow in 5 weeks, I sold $1,800 worth of advertising
That sounds
for
good to me.
a AA baseball team. Nobody cares about the Suns.
And by the way, what did a minute of advertising cost on that station?
Well, no, it wasn't.
$6?
This is season
billboards.
tickets,
I see,
billboards.
billboards, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I remember I hadn't sold anything in 13 days, and they bring me in the office on a Friday. Said, "Chris, you're out. Goodbye." I said, "You said 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It was 9 days. You said 2 weeks, and this 2 weeks is not up yet." That day at 3 o'clock, I went to an Irish lawyer firm. And a guy bought 4 season tickets. And I came back at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, "Here, you tell me you can't fire me now. Here's your ticket order for $500. And they had to keep me.
So your play-by-play job really had little to do with the talent. It had to do with whether or not you could sell.
Absolutely right.
Now, you say you went to Rollins College?
Well, yeah.
Where is that?
That's in Winter Park.
Is that like a rich kid's college? You bow your way
People
in?
think it is,
Were
yeah.
you a bad student?
You know, I wasn't a great student, but Rollins is a pretty good school. 1,300 kids, so you get good little attention. Remember, I went to a boarding school, too, in upstate New York.
You were a rich kid. I guess your old man did okay.
I wasn't...
Boarding school? Who does that in Syosset?
Yeah, well, he went there.
Hold on to this accent. Going to
my mother's English.
What in the world
my mother
is going on?
My mother's English.
Did your parents dislike you so much that they sent you off to boarding school?
I was a, only child. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, Howard.